Happy Friday, everyone, and thank you for all of those people who have joined me live today, whether you're new or you're a part of my community and you come every week to do this work with me and support each other. Welcome to those new participants and thank you for being here, and a special thank you to my people. Is like, I'm just going to say my community, the people, those helpful people that come every week to help me so much. It helps me so much. Thank you so much. Okay, what are we? We are the 26th of July, and I'm going to get right into it. Just a little disclaimer, I'm not a doctor. You have an emergency, get yourself to the emergency room. All right, hopping into session. Nausea. I've been feeling nauseous and vibrating all week, and I've concurred with my group that they're having a similar experience. So there must be something in the collective that we're tuning into, and so the collective mind or the collective consciousness or the group, the world experience, whew, there's some kind, I could feel it, there's some kind of shift. But I don't want to look at a collective shift. The microcosm, so you and your life, whatever's shifting and transmuting within yourself and your life, then ripples out into the macrocosm, out into the world around you. So it's like Rumi said, or I think it was Rumi, I'm so bad, don't quote me on the person. I think it was Buddha, I don't know. Be the change you want to see. Be the change you want to see. So there's already a gurgle happening there. And a deep breath. So I'm going to slow down. So I've got all these thoughts coming in. Oh, well, what do I have to change? What do I need to do? So take a moment of quiet here. Let the dust settle. So the detritus of your mind, it's said in Ho'oponopono, Dr. Hewlin said, oof, the dust of your mind. And then we do the Ho'oponopono to pray a prayer of forgiveness and reciprocity. And it's just the dust of your mind. There's nothing to be done about it. It's nothing, that the mind is doing its thing. There's nothing to do. There's nothing to do. There's nothing to do except for this work, peeling away what is false. As soon as I say that, I'm calming down. It seems like there's a pushiness, like, oh God, I feel like I need to do something. This feels really uncomfortable. I need to do something about it. I don't like what's happening in my life. I need to do something about it. Going through a difficult situation, for example, if you're going through difficulty, whether that be in health or finances or family or within work, or maybe there's a reorganizing, well, there was a big release on that. And then it feels like there's this, well, things change. And sometimes in order for things to change, most things like the tarot card need to fall away and needs to break apart. Well, then let's re-look at our foundations. What are the foundations of your life built upon? What are the foundations of your life built upon? Oh, that feels really, really heavy. And I'm feeling like a sinking feeling right at the bottom of my gut, right down through that large intestines. So we're going to bring in the waning moon, this gorgeous waning moon. And as soon as I bring in her energy to pull away the detritus. So we're going to use the energy of the moon to help with the large intestines to literally let go. That's the healthy large intestines, and let's go. You go to the bathroom every morning or whenever you have your bowel movements. That's grief at work, letting go. Oh, there seems to be a little bit of a holding pattern here within the large intestines. Either I don't want things to change. No, I finally got comfortable with the way things are. Oh my God, no, please, not more change. I couldn't possibly deal with more change. Oh my God, I just had a big thing that I had to go through. Oh, you gotta be joking. No. And that's fighting against the nature of life. And the only truth of life is that everything changes. And it happens all the time, whether you like it or not. Sometimes even for better. Woof. And so there's this thinking here. Yes, we need to have a preparation, and the liver comes in to organize and plan to help create some kind of structure. But there's flow to life, right? So that's the feminine. So we're tuning into that moon to help release that gripping, that holding on. I'm feeling such grief. So there is a natural grieving process that needs to take place. Let's say when you move, you leave a job, you leave a relationship, there's a friendship that falls away, there's a falling out with the family, or even if it's a grieving of a stage in your life. For example, your children leave the house. Now you've got an empty nest, and that's a different phase of your life that you're going into. Or, maybe you're having kids and now you've got children in the house, and that's a different phase. So you got to grieve, that life that you're leaving behind. And it's a natural process when we're holding on and wishing things for it to stay the same, or that control comes in and says, oh, no. Okay, well, I can live fully maybe 1%. And everything else needs to go exactly the way that I had planned. Okay, I'll be a little flexible. Oh, well, not so much. So we're going to do a repair to that large intestines and running active memory. And actually, there's even strings of trauma through here. There's some PTSD trapped within that colon, the anus, and that whole large intestine. So ascending, transverse, descending right down into the colon. There's some PTSD of trauma there. So this is going back into early childhood, when you didn't have much of a say for change. And it's like you had to move and the parents didn't consult you. They didn't really tell you what was going on. They just said, we're moving. And they didn't talk to you about it. Or a friend moved away, or a big change in your life that you really had no say over. When we're children, we develop these coping mechanisms, and we've got these big giants that are responsible for us, our health, to keep us alive. We got these big giants keeping us alive. And so we're very dependent upon our parents. Now, this is not saying that they did anything on purpose. They have their own human experience, and it's just this big jumble mess of human experiencing, right? But there is some trauma. There are some events that are quite traumatic, even for the child who's 2 years old. Let's say there's a little baby and they're really involved, and they've got their little stone and they're really enthralled in their stone. And the parents go, time to go. They take the stone out of baby's hand, throw it in the park, bye stone, and we just pick up and go, right? That's very traumatic for that child. It doesn't seem to be. It's an innocent thing that the parents are doing. It's time to leave now. It's time to change. It's time to transition to the next thing in life. We're leaving the park now. We're going to go into the car and we're going to go home now. There's a transitioning, but without that, looking at the child going, okay, little Johnny or Maggie, it's time to go now. Do you know that it's time to go now? Put the stone down or put it in your pocket, but we need to leave now. That ripping away from something gets stored in the system. And so this is what we're dealing with here, that traumatic experience of actually having something ripped away, or not being able to have that process of grieving a loss of something. And then those innocent things that get stuck in the system where, like I just said as an example, the stone gets thrown, the child gets picked up under the arm, they're screaming, and they get thrown into the car and say, okay, we're leaving now. So all of the transmutations, we're going to transmute both ends of this trauma that gets stored in the body. All right, so take a nice deep breath. We're going to run an active memory dumping to traumatic experiences, whether something happened perceived trauma, or it was just innocent happening, to all the way to the other side of actually being ripped away from something traumatically. So we're going from 18 months to 10 years old. So, whew, and we're bringing in Madame Moon, her nurturing to help let this go easily. So transmutation happens, change happens, but let's do it. Let's set up the cells in our system to do this is with as much grace and ease as possible, so that it could be a smooth transition, that we can experience the transitioning, whether you're changing jobs or there's a falling away of something, that it could be done with a certain amount of ease, right? And so that falseness can fall away with ease, that there's not that gripping on to something. Bringing in here hydration through the whole digestive system. And this is I'm really nauseous now. So this is highlighting water for me. So maybe we're a little dehydrated. Maybe our bodies are not utilizing, I think I could see it here. We're drinking water, and then our bodies are not functioning well to transmute that into H3O, which is needed for cellular regeneration, muscle, for the muscles to stay hydrated. We need that easy water. The cells and the membranes need that easy water. So we're going to do a repair within the small intestines, where it sucks up the water, it absorbs the water, but that process of transmuting it into easy water. So it's God water. This is the digestive system, starts about 3 inches away from the mouth and ends all the way down at the rectum. That's your whole digestive system. So now we're going to bring in hydration. And this is also focusing on the releasing of any built up emotion or emotional content. That emotional, it's coming up as emotional burden in through that whole mouth biome, down through the throat, the esophagus, right down. Oof, the stomach especially, there's just, it feels inflated and just like, okay, it feels like, it's like, okay, TO, if it was a little kid playing tag, okay, time out, TO, I'm tapped out. I no, can't take any more in. I can't possibly digest any more food. I couldn't possibly be digesting more life. I couldn't possibly break down these huge experiences that are coming in. Whew, or even it may be even a backup of experience that hasn't been transmuted, hasn't been digested into little pieces. Now, she's here with us today, and she says to me often, "How do you eat an elephant?" Monica, how do you eat an elephant? So you've got a big piece of life coming in, a big change coming in, something that looks like a mountain in front of you. Even if that change is, oh my God, I've got to stop. I've got to change my dietary habits, or I've got to change work, or it could be so simple. I need to change the amount of water I intake. Some change can be difficult for some people, and it's not so flowy all the time. And so she says to me, "How do you eat an elephant?" It's like, well, one little piece at a time. And this is the functioning of the stomach. It uses worry to break down into small little digestible pieces, literally and figuratively. And worry's tricky. Worry's tricky because healthy worry is thinking. Am I using my intellect wisely? Am I using my intellect well? Am I actually seeing what is happening in front of me? Am I utilizing my liver to organize and plan? Am I thinking properly? Or am I following my thoughts? Is my mind ruling the show? And then with a good intellect, with a strong intellect, you can actually destroy the mind so that your heart shines, so that your heart leads the way, not the mind. And so we're in stomach right now, and it's just like in, absolutely inflated. It's like, I just can't, I can't. My daughter says this, I can't even. So we got to help that stomach. We're going to run a seedry to the stomach. We're going to bring it back. We're going to calm it down, we're going to do bringing in the pancreatic reflex point, which has helped reduce stress, to help bring that sympathetic nervous system down into regulating the sympathetic nervous system so that it can move into that healing space of the parasympathetic, that it's nice in those alpha waves. Can't always be in high stress. Can't always be in high stress. And sometimes, even when there's nothing happening around you, the mind can trigger, thoughts can trigger a very high stress response within your body. Cortisol levels shoot up, your adrenals get to work, that adrenaline, epinephrine start to pump through the body, and you're ready to act, and there's nothing to act upon. There's nothing to do. So we're going to help that stomach to relax, relaxing that nervous system, doing a switching technique to the nervous system, bringing it back into a calm space so that the stomach can do its job and break down life. And the food that you take in, the nutrients can be absorbed through those small intestines. And it can take those experiences and pass them through to the small intestine so it can be transmuted into wisdom. And whenever it's just like a fart, you don't need it, well, then it can go pass through the large intestines. Like, oh, I don't need that backed up memory, kind of like a defrag on a computer. Oh my God, I didn't even know I was holding on to those junk files. They don't need to stay. You don't need to hold on to everything. So there, the stomach's relaxing. We're going to do a Vivaxis to the stomach. Bring it back into a peaceful state where it can do its job. We don't want it neutral because it's acidy in there. It needs to be a little bit acidic. It needs to break things down. The worry has to be in the healthy function within the stomach. So you can start to break down what seems to be a mountain in front of you, something, whatever's happening in your life that seems to be insurmountable. You don't have to digest the mountain. It's one little piece at a time. And that will keep you, we're linking all of this, anchoring this in through the midline, through the present. Well, how could you actually prepare for anything? Well, you can make preparations as much as you want, but really it's moment to moment. There we go. Nausea's calmed down. My body's not shaking anymore. I feel a release within my arms. My stomach has softened. My gut has dropped. It's softened. It doesn't feel so up in my diaphragm anymore. I could feel tension still in my shoulders, but that's okay. I could feel the shift happening and my mind is not racing. So check in with yourself, how you feel, what shifts you've noticed, and blessings to you for this coming week. And I will see you all next week. I'm tapping this in here for all of us. Happy weekend, everyone.